The story starts with Porter Wren, a Manhattan writer for a newspaper that sells mayhem, scandal, murder and doom stories. He's always running to the place where bad things have happened. A woman tells him the unfortunate story of a man who sacrificed his life to save a little boy. After listening to the story, Porter takes some pictures and thanks the woman for her time. He used to think his stories could make a difference, but now he just hopes they are enough to feed his family. Porter has a conversation with his wife, Lisa, which insists he attend the newspaper party to avoid risking his column getting cut. When arriving at this elegant party, Porter spots a woman. She notices him staring and comes to him to introduce herself as Caroline. She compliments Porter's well-written column and points out his skill for having people opening up to him. He asks what brought her to the party. Caroline replies that it's because of her boyfriend, Charles, who owns a bank that does some kind of business with a company she guesses just bought his paper. And adds that they all work for Hobbs now. Porter wants to know what Caroline wants, so she tells him to accompany to her apartment. Porter already suspects it's got something to do with her husband's death. Caroline hands Porter a folder which contains a police report. He tells her that she can get in a lot of trouble for having those files, but she doesn't care. Porter reads that Caroline's husband, Simon Crowley, was found in the rubble of a demolished building. Surrounding the body were small pieces of jade. The police have no idea how he got in there, given the high fence with wire, nor can they determine the cause of death because of the bulldozers and rats. Porter switches to reading a magazine that talks about Crowley, calling him the world-famous filmmaker who appears incapable of smiling. At the end of the article, this person wrote that the man was not a nice person and he cared if you knew it. After some more reading, Porter leaves the place with Caroline's number. Porter is at his office now. He pulls Caroline's number and calls her to visit her. Porter asks her how she met Simon. Caroline tells him that they met at a bar and had an amazing conversation about their childhoods and parents. She knew who he was the moment she saw him, but she didn't expect that she'd get a marriage proposal on the spot. The next day she got a package from him which contained a flash drive and an engagement ring. The flash drive had a video of Simon doing his vows, which wasn't like your common vow, but it was very felt. Then Caroline and Simon got married and were surprisingly happy for 6 months, until one night, he didn't arrive home. But 3 days went by and it was clear to her that something was wrong. Porter tells her that if the police couldn't figure out how or why Simon died, he doesn't think he can. Caroline points out that he found a little girl once, so that must count for something. But Porter replies that he honestly found that little girl by mistake. Porter leaves Caroline's apartment, but returns to retrieve his phone. He hears the water running from the shower and goes to the bathroom where he stares at her. Caroline notices and comes out. Porter can't resist the temptation, so they end up getting intimate. Then he leaves with the files from the police report and returns home with his family. The next day Porter awoke with the odd desire to visit the site of the demolished building where Simon's body had been found. This didn't answer any of his questions. It actually made him wonder if Simon had died in the rubble or was he in the building before it was demolished. Why was he in the building, or how did he get in if he had no key? Caroline and Porter meet at a cafe. She wants to show him something. Caroline takes him inside this massive vault. There's a suitcase with many video cards. Caroline says that Simon was unhappy during all of his life and that he was always searching for the truth. So he was proud to have captured some truth on each of those video cards. Porter asks Caroline which video should they watch first, but Caroline tells him she's not staying since she has seen them multiple times. Porter inserts a video card. For the most part, all he's seeing so far is a compilation of everyday instances Simon shared with people. Porter gets interrupted by a call from Walden Campbell, a gatekeeper from Mr. Hobbs's office. He says that Hobbs wants to have a word with him immediately. Hobbs straight up tells Porter that he's aware of his affair with Caroline. Then proceeds to tell him that Caroline has been sending him this very compromising video again and again. So Hobbs wants to know what's up with this and demands Porter to get him the original video or else he'll have him fired. Pointing out he can't refuse because getting fired would mean not being able to pay for his mortgage. And to put even more pressure, Hobbs suggests he has the ability to make it seem like Porter's wife did a malpractice in her job which could ultimately result in her ruin. After Caroline and Porter have their encounter, he uses the opportunity to explain to her that Hobbs expects him to deliver a video he believes Caroline is sending. Caroline can't believe this. She says she wanted Porter to find that video for her. Porter asks if she knows what's on that video. She replies to have never watched it, but was present during the recording. We get a flashback where Simon tells Caroline that he is willing to do anything she asks as long as it doesn't involve hurting someone, if she's willing to do anything he asks. Caroline replies by saying she can keep up with him and asks him to hold the hand of someone. In exchange, Simon asks her to have sex with someone most unexpected and hands her a pen with a hidden camera to record it. So Caroline sat down in the lobby of a hotel to think who she could do it with, but then Hobbs walked in. She recognized him from a CNN report. The bellhop gave Caroline Hobbs his room number and they did their thing. Then Simon looked through her purse and took the flash drive. Caroline also adds that Simon never kept his end of the bargain up and for that she hated him and promised to herself she would never care what Simon thought about her ever again. Porter just wants to clarify the intention of their sexual relationship. Caroline clarifies that it was all with the intention of having his help. Porter gets mad and doesn't understand why she can't tell him all the truth because he figured that it doesn't make sense that a man as old as Hobbs would care to keep secret a hot encounter like that so bad. And that the video must have something that made Simon upset when he saw the footage. Not getting the truth, Porter leaves. Just when he's arriving at his home, Porter gets intercepted by some men Hobbs sent who are asking for the flash drive. Porter tells them he doesn't have anything, but they kick him anyway. Porter found out Simon's father lives in a nursing home in Queens, so he visits him. The man didn't say a word, but Porter was able to find a video card inside a camera. Right after Porter gets a call from Lisa, he rushes to the hospital where he finds that his son is still alive, but got shot. And Porter knows very well who caused this. Lisa is done with their relationship. Porter played the video he got from the nursing home, and the only clue he could get was a woman who appeared in the video, her name, Norma Siegel. Porter broke into Norma's house desperate to get information. Norma was close to Simon, she took care of him as if he was her own kid. So she revealed that Simon gave her something to help her financially. He prepared a ton of video cards that she would exchange for money by billing them to a firm. Porter tells Norma that she can keep billing the firm, but she mustn't send anything anymore. Norma is relieved because she is in fact holding onto the last copy. Porter plays this video and we see that Hobbs is very hesitant to be intimate with Caroline, because he has a secret. When he was younger he fell in love with a prostitute and when it was time to go, he flew down the dark streets up to the port where some Marseille sailors butchered his manhood. Caroline asks to see it anyways and Hobbs complies. After watching the footage, Porter delivers the last copy to Hobbs who asks him if Caroline was the one sending the tapes. To which Porter replied it was an innocent woman taking orders from Simon and that she never watched the contents. Hobbs seems satisfied with this and decides to give Porter a key he believes Porter left in Caroline's apartment. Everything could have ended here, but it didn't. Porter still had too many questions about Simon's death. The key Hobbs gave him didn't belong to him and it could be the missing piece to unlock this puzzle. Porter went back to where Simon was found. The key unlocked an underground place. Porter goes in there and digs around an elevator that piqued his interest. He finds another video card there. Porter played it on a camera he had. This video showed Caroline and Simon going into that same elevator. When they arrive at a room, Simon pulls out Caroline's horse, which is made of jade. This was a gift from Mr. Hobbs to her because of the story Caroline told him that no one else knows about. So naturally, Simon wants to know the story and he's not letting her go until she tells him. Simon crushed the horse and put a padlock around Caroline's ankle and swallowed the key to put pressure on her. But Caroline stabbed him with a piece of jade which resulted in his death. The next morning Porter meets up with Caroline to confront her about what he found. He gives her a copy and warns her to never contact his family or else he'll leak the video. He says this despite having lost his family due to the divorce. Porter asks if he can know Caroline's secret story. Caroline reveals that she used to beg her stepdad so much for a horse that he promised to give her one on her birthday if she let him do whatever he wanted to. Her birthday came and there was no horse, but after threatening her stepdad to tell her mom what had happened, he took her the next day to get a horse. And when Caroline was finally in front of the horse, he killed it. Porter realized what he had lost for this story while driving around Caroline's new home.